Imagine waking up one day and finding yourself locked in a supermarket for the rest of your life. How would that be? Let's paint a picture. You rub your eyes, slowly coming to terms with the morning light. But instead of the familiar sight of your bedroom, you're greeted by towering shelves packed with a myriad of items. The scent of freshly baked bread wafts through the air, mingling with the subtle fragrance of ripe fruits and vegetables. You're surrounded by aisles upon aisles of food, drinks, and every conceivable product a supermarket could offer. At first, it feels like a dream. The confusion sets in. Where is everyone? How did you end up here? You wander around, calling out for anyone who might be around. But all you hear is the low hum of the refrigerators and the muted rustle of packaging. Slowly, the reality of the situation starts to sink in. You're alone, locked inside a supermarket. But not just for a day, a week, or a month. This is it, your new reality. The rest of your life is set to unfold amidst canned goods and cereal boxes. You start to panic. The enormity of the situation overwhelms you. The endless expanse of the supermarket starts to close in on you. But then, you take a deep breath. You remind yourself that panicking won't help. You need to assess your situation logically. And so, you begin to plan. You decide to explore every nook and cranny of the supermarket. You find the bakery, the butchery, the produce section, and even the candy aisle. You find the tools section, the clothing area, and the electronics corner. You discover that you have access to everything you need and more. The initial fear and confusion give way to a sense of cautious optimism. Yes, the situation is bizarre. Yes, it's not ideal. But you're not in immediate danger. You have food, shelter, and all the essentials for survival. You have time to figure out your next steps. Now that you have a clear picture of the scenario, let's delve into the pros and cons of living in a supermarket. So, what could be the positive aspects of residing in a supermarket? It may not be as bad as you think. First off, imagine having an unlimited supply of food at your fingertips. From fresh produce to canned goods, from the bakery to the frozen food section, your culinary options are endless. Whether you're a meat lover, a vegetarian, a vegan, or someone who adores exotic fruits, you'd never run out of things to eat. You could experiment with different recipes, try out new dishes, or indulge in your favorite snacks anytime you want. But it's not just about food. A supermarket is a treasure trove of essential items. Need toiletries? Aisle 3 has you covered. Looking for cleaning supplies? You'll find them in aisle 7. From clothing to electronics, from pet supplies to gardening tools, everything you need for daily life is right there. Moreover, there's the variety. If one day you fancy Italian, you can grab some pasta and sauce. If the next day you want to go Mexican, there's a whole array of tortillas, salsa, and beans waiting for you. From Asian to Mediterranean, from comfort food to gourmet delicacies, you can travel the world through your taste buds without ever leaving your supermarket home. And let's not forget about the possibility of never running out of essential items. Imagine never having to worry about running out of toilet paper or toothpaste again. Or never having to panic when you realize you've used the last of your laundry detergent. With the supermarket shelves stocked high, you're always prepared. Living in a supermarket could also potentially be a learning experience. You could learn about different foods, their origins, and their nutritional values. You could experiment with various cleaning products or try out different brands of toiletries. While these advantages sound appealing, it's not all rosy. Let's examine the other side of the coin. Living in a supermarket might seem like a dream come true for food lovers. However, there are some drawbacks to consider. While the endless aisles of food and snacks may seem like paradise, the reality might not be as tasty. First and foremost, you'd need to deal with the lack of fresh food. Sure, supermarkets are filled with fruits, veggies, and meats, but these items are not restocked daily. Over time, these perishables would start to rot and decay, leaving you with a less than appetizing selection. Furthermore, the majority of supermarket food is processed and packaged for longevity, not for health. The shelves are filled with canned goods, frozen meals, and snacks that can last for months or even years, but these usually lack the vital nutrients our bodies need. The abundance of these items could tempt you into an unhealthy diet, leading to potential health issues in the long run. Let's not forget about the perishable items. Dairy products, meats, and fresh produce have a limited shelf life, even when refrigerated. Without a daily restock, you'd have to consume these items quickly or risk them spoiling. And once they're gone for good. You would soon find yourself living off canned beans and instant noodles, which, let's face it, isn't exactly gourmet. Then there's the absence of human interaction. You might think that living in a supermarket means you're never alone, surrounded by the faces on cereal boxes and the voices of radio jingles. But humans are social creatures, and the lack of actual human contact could lead to feelings of isolation and loneliness. And let's not overlook the practicalities. Supermarkets are not designed for living. They lack proper sleeping facilities, showers, and other essentials for daily living. You might find a corner to curl up in, but it's not going to be as comfortable as your bed at home. These cons certainly provide some food for thought, but let's consider the long-term implications. If you were to live in a supermarket indefinitely, what would be the long-term implications? Well, let's dive right in, shall we? First up, health issues. Living in a supermarket would mean a lack of physical activity. Sure, you'd be walking around the aisles, but it's not the same as a good, heart-pumping workout. Over time, you might start to see signs of a sedentary lifestyle. Obesity, heart disease, even diabetes could become serious concerns. Remember, those supermarket aisles are packed with processed, high-sugar, high-sodium foods. It would take discipline to make healthy choices, especially when the chips and cookies are just a few steps away. Then we have to consider the psychological impact. Humans are social creatures. We crave interaction and connection. Isolation in a supermarket, even with all the food you could ever want, could lead to loneliness and depression. Plus, there's the potential for a form of cabin fever, stuck within the same four walls, day in and day out. It's enough to make anyone a little stir-crazy. And what about survival skills? In our modern world, we've become accustomed to convenient, ready-to-eat foods. But in a supermarket lockdown, you'd be left to your own devices. Sure, you'd have access to raw ingredients, but would you know how to prepare them? Could you make bread from scratch or fillet a fish? Over time, your basic survival skills could start to wane, leaving you reliant on packaged, processed foods. But it's not all doom and gloom. There would be some positives too. You'd certainly never go hungry, and you'd have plenty of time to master those cooking skills. You could even get creative, turning the supermarket into your own personal playground or art studio. The long-term implications paint a pretty grim picture, but let's wrap up by summarizing what we've discussed so far. We've traveled through the aisles of our hypothetical supermarket home, examining the pros and cons. Here's a quick recap. Imagine waking up one day and finding yourself locked in a supermarket, a scenario that might seem like a dream come true for many. The abundance of food and drink, the variety of products, and the prospect of surviving in a man-made ecosystem is undeniably intriguing. The aisles filled with colorful fruits, vegetables, a cornucopia of canned and dry goods, and a seemingly endless supply of sweet and savory treats can paint a picture of a paradise. But every coin has two sides, and this fascinating scenario is no exception. Yes, the supermarket is a treasure trove of food, but let's not forget the downsides. There's the lack of fresh air, the artificial lighting replacing the warmth of the sun, and the loneliness that may come from being the only human in this vast space. Not to mention, the food you'd have at your disposal is not meant for long-term survival. The fresh produce would eventually rot, canned goods would expire, and you'd be left with a dwindling supply of edible food. As we delve further into the long-term implications, things become even more complicated. You'd need to learn new skills to survive, like rationing food, maintaining the supermarket's infrastructure, and dealing with potential emergencies, from power outages to medical issues. Over time, the supermarket, once a sanctuary, could become a prison. While the thought of unlimited ice cream and chips may sound appealing, the reality of living out your life in a supermarket is far from a fairy tale. It's a complex situation that would test the limits of your resourcefulness, resilience, and adaptability. While being locked in a supermarket might seem like a food lover's paradise at first, the reality could be quite different. Next time you're in a supermarket, take a moment to think about it.